like your scores for John Wick. That is more than coming from you. I am totally happy with that score.
Okay, good.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, I expected worse.
Fair
As in,
enough.
I expected you to score it higher.
I'm frankly deeply upset that it's got so many 8.8s.
I'm really
Flash
happy that
nines.
Hachi is finished higher than John Wick.
Oh, has it? Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So Simon, our scores are pretty similar in both films.
I mean, I feel like it was some of the movies were. Could be a movie that most enjoyed. I didn't expect everyone to enjoy it, but comparatively, like it's a dichotomy of the style of the films that I chose. I was like, yeah, it clashes, but it works together somehow.
I'm grumpy about Hachi, but we can get into that.
Okay.
Would you like to go into why you did this to us? Do you want to do your double bill? I'd like rationale and then go into Hachi specifically, or do you want to just do Hachi first and then do John Wick on the next one? What do you want to do?
No, I can explain it. Essentially, because
I can explain.
yeah, that's the best way to explain it. So essentially, as always, because I got another double bill bequeathed to me by John, let's say.
No. John wasn't using his. We bequeathed it.
Okay.
John queefed it.
We bequeathed it on John's bequeath.
Okay. That's gross. You made it sound way worse than it had to be. But in any case, obviously I had a film in mind for the Christmas season. Because I got the double bill, I was like, I need to choose a good double bill that can be slightly depressing because it's Christmas time and it's winter season, and winter season is always kind of depressing. But because I had a double bill, I was like, I need to choose something that maybe not depressing, but maybe it can break someone's heart. And I was like, I was checking through my list and I was like, perfect, Hachiko. But I was like, my double bill though, it has to work with something. It has to do with something with dogs. Then I remember that one of John's favorite actors is Keanu Reeves. And I was thinking, all right, yeah, because if the dog dies in John Wick and Hachiko has to wait for his master who died. And I was like, yeah, that kind of blends together. Yeah, so that's the reason why double bill, because story about a man and his dog and a dog and his man, and it blends together. And I was like, yeah, it's great double bill. But remember, always watch Hachiko first, because now that your heart's broken into sharp shards, we use those sharp shards to stab a Russian mob boss, and we'll get to that. But we'll get to that later.
I'm glad I watched it first. Obviously I wasn't able to stay awake during the time, so Camilla taught me a little bit of stuff, but I just happened to watch it first.
I love that we've got this far into it that it's now obviously I couldn't stay awake.
I don't know if you should have said the specified Russian mob boss when Rob's wearing that hoodie.
Oh, yeah.
There's no chance of me translating everyone's got a price, bitch.
Near vodka.
That's so stupid. That's what
Dostoevsky.
Yes. But yes. But for Hachiko is it's one of the films I feel like most people know of it, but don't really know the story behind it. So originally, as I discussed before, I wanted to get the actual Japanese version. But of course, like fucking Godzilla, unless I bought the fucking DVD, and it's like, fucking, there's no English translations for any of it. Just couldn't find it on Amazon. It's not there. So Hachi, A Dog's Tale, is a decent enough version of the story that I was like, yeah, it's pretty good as like trying to retell the story of Hachiko. It gets there. Admittedly speaking, I was thinking about one thing though, because it's based on a true story. And do true stories have contrivances?
Well, we've had this with. Sorry, I'm just going to take that one. Since I am the contrivance ambassador, I guess.
The Contrivance King.
I've had it with Black Klansman. I think was the one that made me kind of assess because Rob did Pride, and that all seemed to be pretty close to what actually happened. So I had to give it like top marks for that. And I really like the film. Conversely, I don't want to undersell that. But like Black Klansman, they changed some things that happened. They like invented someone who didn't exist so that someone gets discovered and then antics ensue so we can have like a climax and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, you kind of deviated from what happened. Like, I guess as long as it makes like sense and stuff, like not a big deal. But I think it's when you start changing things to get like a payoff.
Oh, okay.
That's when I start going, But like, Black Handsman did that pretty well, I think. I don't think I would like had to go at it that much, but
I think you still gave it a 9.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because like I was kind of conflicted myself because the skeleton and most of the story is mostly the same. Obviously, like it's set in the States instead of Japan, so it's like, I mean, there's obviously going to be differences. It can't be helped with that. It's like,
they kind of had to introduce a Japanese character just to be like, yeah, this is what we're trying to do. Seeing as you don't do that in America.
Everything's okay.
So it was like, I mean, like, but they just they redid the story just with American actors, but it's still pretty much the same story. So I was like, I
gotta say, I did have a moment with this where I was like, he's best friends with a fucking Japanese guy who teaches him fucking kendo. Are you for fucking real? And then I was like, oh, my dad exists. He's got like 3 black belts and 3 different martial arts. Like what? And I was like, okay, all right, fine.
So it's like, yeah. So I was like, is it really contrivances? Not really. It's kind of it makes sense, and things that happened actually happened to most of the point, right? I think they might have changed up what sort of professor he was and what sort of like if he had like a heart attack or a brain aneurysm. I can't remember exact history details, but they might have changed that ever so slightly. But it's pretty much his. Well, no. The point is, it doesn't matter what happened to him. The point is, he died without Hachi knowing, and that's why it's sad because he's still waiting for him. That's the whole reason the whole story is. So it's like,
it wouldn't be surprising as well to have a professor who at least knows a little Japanese, even if they weren't Japanese at a uni. It's like, I was thinking just before he said Hachi, I saw it. I was like, that's Hachi, and then he said it just as I was saying. I was like, yeah.
I think it's the thing. Like you could like, obviously it's 1930. We're dealing with like 1930s, I guess, because Hachi died around 1934.
Yeah, I think it's like 1925 that his owner died, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess like the internet is obviously the internet is obviously not a factor. But like the Japanese guy isn't necessarily giving him like he's not giving him crucial information. He's like filling stuff in. He's like giving information about the breed and stuff, and it's like it's not necessarily like plot crucial. Like it's stuff he could find out. So it's even if he's not even if that's not like a true retelling, I wouldn't consider it to be sort of like the brain aneurysm or the heart attack thing. It's a sudden death thing that you wouldn't whether that deviates or not really consequential. Like
yeah, you can't predict it. It's just how life is. It's just that's the thing about it. Is it a coincidence he just suddenly dies then? But it's like, well, he could. Anyone could. He was.
Yeah.
It's just the way Will Love unravels, isn't it?
Yeah. So whether or not the Japanese guy is in there, not a problem as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, I always like seeing Ken. Is it Ken Watanabe?
No, that's not Ken Watanabe.
That's not him.
That's not Ken Watanabe at all.
I'm terrible with names.
It's not Ken Watanabe.
Ken Watanabe is very bored and is in Last Samurai. This is the guy in Mortal Kombat.
I'm terrible with names. Point is, I always like seeing this actor.
Is he gonna go finish him?
But what's his name?
I can't remember the top of my head now as well. But
Oh,
I
okay.
always remember him as Mortal Kombat guy, and it just stuck in my mind about it.
I will find this.
But yeah,
One of my favorite moments with him is when he's in Inception.
That's
an
still-
old man filled with regret.
That's Ken Watanabe.
Huh?
Okay.
That's Ken Watanabe.
Yeah. Wait, do you say
He's in
Inception?
He's in
Yeah.
Batman Begins and then Inception. And Thugs of
Yeah,
Love
that's
Brothers.
Ken Watanabe.
Yeah.
This guy's not Ken Watanabe. No.
This is
Oh.
Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa.
Oh yeah.
Emmanuel.
Yeah, he does look different.
This is very embarrassing for you. This guy was in Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, he was.
He's in Twins as Oriental Man.
Mm.
Oh, no. He's in License to Kill as Kwang. He's in Mortal Kombat as Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung. Yeah, that's the one I remember. Like that's the best one. Just to think about it, it's just like,
Oh no. He's in Pearl Harbor as Commander Minoru Genda.
oh yeah,
Oh,
I think I
yeah.
remember that. Yeah, that's
He
But-
is quite. Maybe it's his kind of how he presents himself, like how he holds himself.
I mean, I
But
mean,
he
like
is
you could.
older as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, like I would like if we were arguing like the type of like characters he does like Ken Watanabe's characters are very suave and cool most of the time, especially
Yeah.
because if you put him in a suit, he looks very very handsome, right? Oh, yeah. So it's a very different style of like actor and character development. But let's go on to the actual point, because what did you guys think about the film? Let's start off with Ben first, because it's just to balance it out, because like everyone's scores is a bit around.
All over the place. No.
Yes.
I really like Hachi. As I think, obviously, when you described it, there was a familiarity with it anyway. And then I realized when we were talking about it, I was like, oh, it's just like the Futurama episode.
That Futurama episode was based off this.
That was so like that wrecked me, that episode. And this film, obviously, I think it didn't quite get me like that did, but at the same time, it still had all the emotional beats that made that story so like profound, because of just how it expressed or showcased the relationship between a dog and his owner, or his best friend in this case, and how the innocence of animals will always be kind of like what the reason why we love them so much is because how pure they are. And it's just like he's just all he wants is just to see his best friend again, and he doesn't know he's dead. He doesn't know where he is. He just, in his mind, he just wants to just wait for him, because his loyalty is so paramount to their central core relationship. And I think that's what's so heartbreaking about it. He will always want to be with him forever until he dies. And this film did a good job of illustrating that very well. I do feel like overall it is very, like we said, very Hallmark kind of like by the numbers kind of like drama. But
Wait,
at the same time, it's still,
okay. Actually, I actually need you guys to clarify what you guys meant Hallmark for me, because I was like, Hallmark, like the cards, or like I don't know.
I suppose it's like in America they have this channel called the Hallmark Channel, which is kind of like they do these kind of like movies every year that have the same sort of beats, same sort of like happy feels and sort of like emotions, and it has all that, but it does it well because of how convincing Richard Gere and the dog. They're if that didn't work, if those two didn't work together, it probably would have fallen apart. But how they did a really good job of illustrating that, I felt was quite affecting for me. And I know it got Rob too, so I think both me and Rob kind of like, yeah, it's got all these cliches and all these like moments, but it still kind of works. So
Rob is not the litmus test. Rob is not the litmus test for this. He's so easy.
Yeah. So yeah, it just
Dylan wanted me to cry, and I did.
It's all those marks.
I expect at least one of you to like tear up, man.
They know
it's so good. It's such a fucking story.
He got that fucking stone heart, Rob. Yeah.
Just how that dog just seeing his little face and overall, yeah, I feel like if I did see the Japanese version, I think that's going to be even more impactful because one, it's done with more care and affection, and like it's probably likely to be more affecting for the reason of it being set in Japan and being closer to the real telling of the story.
I'd so much rather watch the Japanese version.
So I hope to be able to track that down and watch that at some point. But all things considered, I'm still glad someone picked this version as well. And it just hit all those boxes, and yeah, it did what it was supposed to do, and I think I'll give it credit for that. Yeah, and one last thing, I don't know if you guys knew about the story of Greyfire's Bobby.
No, I've heard of it. I don't know the story though.
It's another story. It's very similar to this. It's also, but it's set even before the Japanese true story of Hachi. It was set in the 1800s in like Victorian era about this Scottish Yorkshire Terrier that kind of always waited on its master's grave until it died. It's this similar death in this case. So it was also another true story of a dog just being so faithful and loyal. It would just live out its life waiting for its master to return. But so it's a story that's quite it's across the oceans. It happens everywhere. Animals are just amazing. So yeah, we love dogs, basically.
And let's see. Let's go Alec first.
So
first after Ben.
Let's go. Sorry, let's go Alec next. Sorry, that's not first. Sorry. Still.
I was not impressed with this. Like, I don't think there's anything inconsistent with it. I'm not going to start going on about contrivances with this one. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's completely fine technically. I like this is the definition of a Hallmark film. I imagine Rob can give us like a technical definition here. But I don't think like this is like particularly ambitious. I don't think it's particularly interesting. I don't think it's particularly. I found it to be artificial. I wasn't endeared to anybody.
I would say you probably thought it artificial when you looked at like the technical graphics of this changing of seasons, where you see that fucking bad CG tree changing to spring to autumn to fucking winter. Yeah, that was some bullshit as well, right?
I was like, I'm watching actors. I'm watching actors who are competent and they are doing their job, telling the story of a dog who did a nice thing, and this when I'm saying things about like you guys are really fucking easy. Seeing a dog does not make me go, "Oh, it's a dog." I don't feel endeared to a dog just automatically. I have to watch Rob's mum heckle a dog while it's embarrassingly having a shit in front of people in a garden. I can't. That's what makes me go, man, Frank. What guy? Hachi didn't have that. Hachi didn't have to do that. And it's like, yeah, you know, you don't have a wretched existence.
Oh, well, okay, but like, That's different though. Well, no, okay, no, that's not that different. give a take. Give it. I feel like the difference is maybe it's because you know Frank, obviously, and you don't know Hachi.
Yeah,
but imagine if Rob was a professor and just had an aneurysm, and Frank was like, "Where's Rob?"
I can't imagine anything fucking funnier than just zooming in on Frank's face, and he's going. And Rob's going like, "You're going to wait for me at the train station, won't you, boy?" And he's going. And he just throws up and eats it. It's like,
okay, maybe not how I expected that. Maybe
that'd be my golden movie.
Okay, so Hachi, but not a cheetah, just a pug. So that's what I'm saying.
John, the thing is, like, John Wick, right? I'm not intending to talk about it for this bit, okay. But John Wick at least showed that the dog did a shit. We don't do that with Hachi. With Hachi, it's all just it's so lovely. It's a dog.
He doesn't far too classy to have ever.
He never does anything terrible. He never beats the shit. He never craps anywhere.
He digs through the garden. He gets sprayed by a skunk.
And another animal that's not Hachi. Like Hachi himself is a golden wonder dog who doesn't have a colon. Like it's a hallmark thing. You're like, oh, it's a happy marriage. It's Richard Gere. He looks like a water vole. You can't be angry at Richard Gere. He's just ever so sympathetic. He's lovely. Oh, it's so good. Oh, I love it. Happy. And I'm just like, anyone, even the most untalented fucking hack could have this script and go and just make something that will make people cry because it's about a dog, very nice dog who had a very nice connection with his owner. And I don't take a strong emotional response to this being like a mark of quality from this. I think it did what it had to do, as Ben said. Ben thinks that is worthy of merit. I don't. I think anyone could have made this. I think Humphrey could have made this and it would have done it. Yeah.
If without like trying to break it down too much, so you don't like the movie mainly not because of the story, but because they could have made the story or like the interactions with the dog better, is what you're trying to say? Or if you gave it like more character, I guess?
I wanted it to be a little bit the word that just floated across my brain was grittier.
A lot of room there.
Let's not say we want a gritty Hachi remake. I would have preferred a bit of non-glamour and like I don't.
Wait, did you say a gritty Hachi remake? So
I don't. No. I don't want a gritty.
No. Dark Souls. Yeah. Okay. We got it. We could play Dark Souls. You'll see a gritty Hachi remake there. Yeah.
Hachi's back and he's pissed off. I don't know. It's fine.
Hachi with the dog with the sword in its mouth, and you have to kill the dog with the sword in its mouth. That's what it would be. That's the sad story.
Hachi's back, and this time it's personal. No, I don't need that.
Oh shit! You just made me think Hachi John Wick.
Hatchwick, that's a great title.
I didn't feel like this material was particularly challenging or interesting or like I don't know. Like I say, objectively nothing wrong. Subjectively, this all felt terribly artificial to me, and I felt no connection to anyone. When he died, I went, yeah. And then the dog waited around and everyone went, oh, wow, it's Hachi. And I went, yeah, it's Hachi, I know. And I was like, that dog was a very nice dog. That's all I can really, I don't know. Sorry, I don't know.
I get what you mean, because true life stories aren't always exciting or gritty. Sorry, I have to say it again. Sorry, just because it just what's in my mind. But like, I guess I can't blame you or fault you for anything like that, because it's real life, and he waited there for like those 9 years, 8 years. I think it was 9 years actually. Yeah, he waited for the 9 years, but admittedly, nothing really happened to him except for him waiting for the 9 years, which is fucking sad in itself. But obviously, nothing really happened to make it like
there was no bit
engaging
where
story.
There was no bit where like, because I used to walk my boss's dog around like just as like a lunch break thing, and there was one time where I took her to like this little park, and I was chucking the ball around, and I was like, I don't like picking up after a dog. But with this one, I was like, obviously I'm walking a dog. I need to just take responsibility for this, like whatever. And there was one time where the dog shit in a pile of leaves. I was like going to try and find it, and I was like, any bit of this could be poo. I don't know. And I was like trying desperately to identify one bit, and I was like, I don't know.
Was this Pat in Parzo's Park?
Wait, what?
I was like, Luna, why have you done this to me? I've got to fucking leave a poo in this pile of leaves now because I can't locate where you've shit. And then she ran off, and I had to go chase her and stuff like that. And like it was a pain in the ass because she's a dog and she doesn't understand. Like, yeah, I don't know. They kind of did this whole thing, and it's like, oh yeah, Hachi is from a mystical race of super dogs. I know this is an actual thing, but like Hachi is just like a divine being, and I can't.
I guess
I'm pretty sure a Shiba Inu, as the same as some kind of Labrador, would shit in a pile of leaves, and you wouldn't be able to find it, and you go, oh fucking, and then it would run off. And you have to run after it.
Hachi is a Akita.
Oh, whatever.
No. The reason why there is a slight difference is because Shiba Inu is like a fucking like Labradoodle, and like an Akita is like a fucking like German Shepherd Greyhound sort of dog.
German Shepherd Greyhound.
You know? Oh yeah, wait, not German. Yeah, German Shepherd, not Greyhound. Sorry, German Shepherd is like a guard dog. Yeah, I got my so because he's supposed to be, because the whole premise is that they try to, especially with the Japanese guy, when he spoke Japanese to Hachi, it's like Hachi kind of understands, but he's waiting anyway. But you can't really show that in a character of a dog, because obviously the dog is not acting, the dog is just there.
The worst thing about Hachi is that he's too loyal. That's like, it's like, oh no, what a horrible thing that is. And it's like, it kind of just serves to make him more fucking endearing and cute. And I was just like, yeah, I'm sorry, you're kind of trying too hard with this. I don't feel I don't feel like there's enough here to make me go, this is a real dog. This is an artificial thing. This is an artificial caricature of a dog that would shit in a pile of leaves.
But it is a real dog, though, which is
was a real dog, but the dog in the film was not a real dog. The dog in the film was an idealized caricature of a dog to make me go, oh,
I was actually,
the mystical little Jedi dog. It's 3 fucking dogs as well. See, there's a staff involved. There's a workforce. Fuck them. Okay. So yeah, that in a sorry, man. In a nutshell, that was my take on this. I realize I'm going to be going against the current here, but
that's right. I would ask Pat next, because he seemed to actually enjoy the film, which I was really surprised about. But Emmanuel, you go next. What's your quick take on
You are our next best Pat.
I liked it. It made me cry.
Perfect.
I didn't think I would enjoy watching it, because I don't tend to care about any film about a dog.
That is a broad statement.
Brutal.
That's
Oh, what'd you say?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said that's a broad statement.
It's just one of those things that just kind of just like, okay. Like I'm not a pet person. I don't care too much about like pets or dogs. And yes, I do know the original story, and we saw it in Shibuya as well, which was nice.
Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, it's actually nice to see him at the actual statue of him was cool.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, you were there too. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, the reason I rated it so highly is because I thought they handled it very well and very sensitively. I thought they did very well in terms of a adaptation that's cross Atlantic, is not the home country, but it has a few links, but it's still telling the same story. And the part I did cry was not when the dog died. It was when the wife came back to the dog and was getting really emotional because she's remembering about her husband and stuff. And
Okay.
she says, "You miss him like I missed him too," in X, Y, and Z. And that moment when she was tearing up, the hot dog man as well was trying to hold it back. I was also going, man. I I'm feeling it too, and that's when I cried. And I thought all of this was really well done. And don't get me wrong, it's not an exciting film. It's quite a simple story, but I thought everything was done very well to how they handled the dog actor, the lighting, the shots they chose. I just thought everything was done just right. I wouldn't ask it to be done any differently, to be honest, as a kind of Western version of Hachi. But yeah,
I
and I
would like
thought Kit narrator was a good touch.
I would like to add that was the bit where I was like, this bit's gonna get me. This bit's gonna get me. She comes back to the train station and she sees him there. Thanks, Ben. And I was like, and I was like, here we go. Here's where my heart's gonna grow 3 times its size. And then she showed up to him and she went, "Oh, Hachi, you're still waiting." And I went, yeah.
Oh, so not the dog's fault, but the
I was
actress's fault.
like, you motherfucker. No, I don't even necessarily think it was her fault. I think if she'd have just gone, "Oh, Hachi," and she wouldn't have had to say it, and it was just something that would be known. And I feel like if you didn't have to put a fucking post-it note on there to go, "Hachi, dog who waits," put the thing to say he waits. I'm just like, nah, come on.
Oh right, yeah, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah. You guys like you could, yeah. If the line was
have the actress communicate it without saying it outright, and it's just one of those things where it's like, if you, I don't know, I feel like a Steven Spielberg or someone would have gone, "We ain't got to have this line. Let's just let you feel that." And then that'll be communicated. Instead, they went, "Nah, they're not going to get it. Put a fucking dialogue line in there to say Hachi's waiting." And I'm just like,
okay. So I think instead of this, it could have been she sees Hachi, she goes, "Oh, Hachi," goes over and just hugs him. Then you don't really need to say you've been waiting all this time. It could have just been. Yeah, I guess that could have been better. I guess that could have, because you kind of knew, and she knows that he's been waiting. It's like added extra dialogue to say the thing. It's like
we need it there because otherwise people won't get
my
it.
arm out to stretch now. This is like unnecessarily dialogue. It's like, all right, yeah. All right, yeah.
That's kind of what I think of when I say Hallmark film. I'm just kind of like, I don't trust you to get it. I need to say it. And it's like,
What I would
what's that, Emmanuel?
What I would say, like with plenty of people who talk to their pets, I feel like yes, it's realistic. Yes, it might be annoying. Film wise, yes, it would have been even better if she didn't say it. At the same time, it's quite realistic because she hasn't seen this old friend for a long time.
Oh,
That's her way of talking to the friend.
Mm.
absolutely. I'm not arguing that it's not something that anyone would say. Like, yeah, I can see someone saying it. I felt like it was very like on the nosy. You get it, don't you? You get what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yes, makes me conflicted now. Movie wise, they could have changed it, but real life wise, it's probably what would have happened. And it goes, but it's like
it's not it's not technically wrong,
but
I think it could have been a little bit better over here.
I think I had this problem with Pat's other film. What was the film that I had a problem with? The fucking what's Pat's double bill? It was
Zodiac.
Fucking Zodiac Killer. Yeah, it went too long because you could have cut it down because it's a movie. It doesn't need to be that long, even though that was kind of realistic as well. And yeah, I had that Zodiac Killer. I guess I can't blame Pat anymore because shit is happening in this film as well. Yeah, because that's what happened in real life. Yeah, but it didn't need to be like that.
Yeah.
I've got to apologize to Pat.
Not having a 3-hour, 4-hour film, not bad on its face, but in that specific circumstance, don't know if it needed it.
Yeah, but with Zodiac Killer and Hachiko, we could have watched Hachiko twice and still have time.
Oh, I hated watching this twice.
Okay, now on to Rob. Let's see what was your thoughts of this film, like your opening thoughts?
Well, I mean, as we already established, I was probably predisposed to liking this a bit, because it's a film that's designed to make you cry. So obviously I cried, and it's about a dog. So obviously I found it a bit. I don't know. It's just by the end of the film, I loved the dog, and I think any film about a dog, that's probably going to be the case. So it had that going for it, but also as well, the whole setup where the kid does like the thing about how Hachi's his hero and all of that kind of stuff. Part of me was going like, this is a bit overly sentimental and like it's a little bit much, but then it also kind of reminded me of my granddad. So it's like it's kind of like, it's not exactly the same thing, right? But I never met my granddad, but one story that I always think of with him is that basically he used to work on the docks, possibly with Alex Nan, weirdly. But he used to work on the docks, and one day on one of the boats he found a monkey. And obviously this was like in the days before camera phones and whatever, so he found this monkey and he was like, nobody at home is going to believe that I've met a monkey today. So he just took the monkey home with him, and for a little while, in like when my dad was a kid and like all of my aunts and we over there, they had a pet monkey just because my granddad brought it home from work one day and was like, oh, look what I met at work, isn't this great?
You weren't expecting this, were you, Simon?
That sounds exceedingly Raby filled for some reason. I don't know what to say. It's exceedingly dangerous.
Well, it couldn't have been that dangerous because there's also a story where my Auntie Grace trod on its tail, and they had like a rivalry that lasted like a few weeks before my granddad took it back to the docks because it was getting too much. So, but yeah, so it kind of reminded me of that story and how the kid kind of like relates to his granddad through a story about his granddad's pet and all of that kind of thing. Like, it's not exactly the same thing, but it just made me think of it. And because it made me think of that, I think I was also a bit kinder to it. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't give it sort of like full marks for story and enjoyment because there were a few things where I was there. I'll get into it probably later, but there was a few bits where I was going like, man, this is very forced. And I was kind of thinking like, the whole thing about the dog waiting at the station and all of that stuff's great, but the hour that leads up to it is a bit like the bit with the skunk, I felt was like just I don't know. I found it a little bit cringe, and the bit where the son-in-law is like, "Fetch the ball, Hachi, please fetch the ball," and they're
And
like,
he's
"He's
just
not
back
going
on
to
the
fetch the ball," and then he trips over something. And I was just sat there like, I could have done
That
without
fucking
this.
croquet shit. Oh, fucking.
That's what I was.
fucking-
That's what I was getting. I was just like, I'm watching actors. I'm watching actors pretend that this dog is real and it's not.
But yeah, there's also so the bit that we were just talking about at the end of the station, when she comes up and she's like, "Oh, Hachi, you're so old and you're still waiting," and it's like the 10-year anniversary of his death. I was kind of like, what did you guys think had happened to Hachi this whole time? Because it kind of took me out of it a bit, because I was like, you've probably had the conversation where you've gone, I wonder where Hachi is. He's probably dead now. And I don't know.
I don't think she knew that he was waiting there. I think she
No,
thought
exactly, yeah.
I think the thought. I think this is what I think she thought. Sorry, that the daughter took Hachi at like the end, right? And she thought Hachi was still living with
I guess
her
But
daughter.
not for 10
No?
years, though,
the daughter would have mentioned it, surely.
I
Well,
guess.
that's the thing, because like the daughter lets Hachi out, and then 10 years pass, and then she finds out that Hachi's at the station, and she's like, "Oh God, you're still waiting." And I was just like, "So what did you think Hachi was up to in those 10 years? Like, did you never talk about this, or did you
Check
never
on
wonder
him?
where he had gone?" Like,
Good point. Good point. Sorry, sir.
it's like, you know, I mean, I'm not saying it's unbelievable that they wouldn't have, but it also makes me think like, did you not care? Like,
Wait, maybe this is probably where the story changes from like the original Japanese version, because like there is because his wife moves away in like the real life story, and it's like one of his students that actually take care of him. The photographer guy who comes over to do the story is actually one of the professor's students, and it's like he's interested in the story and he helps take care of Hachi as well, because he's just really interested in it, because you know the way that it is. And like there were other people that were taking care of him as well, because like even in this movie you have like the hot dog vendor and the butchers and like people like feed him and stuff, because obviously he needs to eat and stuff.
yeah.
But it's like I feel like, yeah, I guess they might have changed it. Yeah, shit. If they did, I didn't notice.
It was just a weird thing for me, because it's like, because I don't know, I found that bit of the story weird as well, to be honest, when she's like, "Oh, if you have to go, then go," because I was kind of like, well, I get what you're doing on a sentimental level, but it just feels a bit of a weird thing to do, to actually do, like just let a dog out to go wherever he wants and then forget about it. Like, it's just, yeah, it just felt strange to me. And also, because I get that the idea was that they'd moved away and whatever, but they do find Hachi at the station earlier on. So, yeah, I don't know.
That is a good point.
It does kind of imply that they just kind of went, it's at the station. Fuck him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if they did kind of like, that's the thing. I'm not saying it's unbelievable on that level, because you can see them going, "Oh, we found Hachi at the station before. He's probably still at the station." But it's just that 10 years later, they then rely on him being forgotten about for the emotional.
Yeah. I'm gonna move that to a 9.5 then.
I guess maybe they did forget about him, I guess, but I don't know. That sounds wrong. But but then people sometimes do forget about it, and it's like,
I think it's just when it's that level of, because like I guess like his daughter does say to him like, "Okay, I'm not going to stop you if you need to do this and stuff," and then I guess that's like kind of drawing a line under it. But I don't know. It's like a little I agree. It's a little weird. They don't like go past the station every now and then and like he's still fucking there. I don't get it.
And I think for me, it would have been nicer if the story was more about that bit at the end, because it's like, yeah,
there was a lot of like weird stuff. As is the thing that weird. This is going into it now. The thing about it is, it's definitely the son-in-law that makes it fucking weird, right? Especially when he's like grilling, when you see his character just grilling some like a steak, and Hachi being a dog, obviously looking at the steak, which I thought was funny, but what was not good about that scene was like his the son-in-law like, yeah, I also do the stuff that you like, so you can like me as well. And then afterwards, Richard Gere is like, his character pretty much went, do you love my daughter? Yes, that's fine then. We'll move on with the story. The plot progresses.
and
I was like, what the fuck was
that's exactly it though. That was exactly one of my problems with it, is that whole thing of like, oh, we've done that bit, let's move on with the story, because everything is in a silo. Because it's like, you've got the first bit where Richard Gere's just going around going, do you want a puppy? Do you want a puppy? Will you take this puppy? And then it's like, oh,
a puppy.
And then it's like, Akitas don't fetch, Akitas don't fetch, Akitas don't fetch. And then it's like, the son-in-law's tripped over, the son-in-law is awkward, the son-in-law is awkward. And it's just like, I don't know, everything's very like self-contained, and it moves through each of them rather than it being like a whole thing.
There's I do want to mention something. Like, I don't know if this comes out of, like you said, there is like a familiarity with the story of Hachi, like he's around like on the internet. Like there is like an awareness of him. Like I knew of the story before you picked it.
Okay.
So I know, oh, Hachi, his owner died. He waited at the station, then he died. And it's like, oh, that's a sad thing. And it's like, okay, what led to that? And like, what led to that wasn't. I don't know. I don't feel like it was. I don't feel like there was much hardship or anything like leading up to that. I don't feel like they bonded that much. I don't. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
I feel. Again, this is mainly because I kind of remember the story from the Japanese version as well, but I haven't watched it. I just know that the like a quick synopsis of it, and it's like the reason why he has Hachi is because he lives quite rurally, and he has like all his kids have moved away, and it like Hachi is like his other kid, I guess you could almost say. And it's like he's taking care of it because, you know, he's an old man, and he's like, all the kids have moved out, and he's like taking care of this puppy. And like his wife was kind of cold to the puppy as well, like in this version, but it's like she warmed up to him.
But like he's never like sad about things. Like, he's never sad about his daughter moving out or anything, and he finds solace in Hachi. You know what I mean? Like, I need to see him be sad about something and then give Hachi a hug and go, yeah. And then I go, oh, that's like, because like, again, I don't want to praise John Wick here. Please believe me, I don't want to praise John Wick. But at least there's something like, I've lost my wife. I have a connection to this dog's going to get me through it.
Okay.
With this, there's no hardship or anything. He Hachi's just lost. He picks up a dog. The dog's great. He loves the dog. And then everything's great until he dies. Like, if he was upset about the daughter getting out, or he didn't like the daughter's boyfriend, or he was unhappy that she'd moved out, or like she got pregnant or something, and he found solace in Hachi, I could go, oh, that's what cemented their relationship. But I don't know what cemented their relationship. I just know that he likes having a dog.
Okay, I see what you mean. They didn't see them actually connect that bond. Is what you're trying to say? There's no.
I didn't feel their connection got cemented. There wasn't something that bonded these two characters together irrevocably.
guess that wasn't really portrayed well in this, because he does go from puppy to adult, like in that few shots, right? And you can't really tell the story of how they developed together, I guess. That's true.
Yeah, because I think that's what it comes down to. I never feel like he. Again, this is another facet of the Hallmark film. Nothing bad really happens, other than the fucking aneurysm thing, or heart attack. But like, nothing really bad happens to him. And when something bad does happen to him, it's very quick. He doesn't know what's happening necessarily, and it's just over. And it's for the family to kind of deal with, and the family have to deal with it afterward, and that's very sad because we all do it. But like, it's never something he has to wrestle with. So like, yeah, I kind of just I just lacked that general, and I don't again, I don't want to give praise to something like Marvel. Has everyone seen the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special?
No, not yet.
No? Okay, that's fine. I won't spoil it. There's a scene with a payoff, and I remembered, well, Eb pointed out what the payoff was going to be for the scene, and I knew what it was going to be as well, and I was like, yeah, okay, I can see where that's going. When we get to that payoff, I wasn't surprised, but I was like, this was nice. This was nice. You didn't need to do it. I'm glad we did this. We went through the little journey of getting to that payoff. That's really sweet. I didn't have that here. You have to fill an hour and a half, and you don't really want to do a lot of conflict or anything like that. So I'm left with a story about a rich professor who has to get the train into work every day, living in his big house with his wife and child. His child never encounters any kind of like problems or anything. She dates a guy, they get married, and then he's found a dog, and they're happy for a bit until he dies, and then and I was like, it just feels a bit empty, I guess.
And that's the thing, like, because with with kind of like the Hallmark thing, the idea is always to sort of make something as accessible that a family can sit around and watch without any sort of anxieties that they're going to see a boob or anything. It's kind of like
this is only rated like a U. This is rated a U, right? It's not actually even a PG. It's just rated a U. So I would hope so. It's not suddenly become.
If there was a bit where like Hachi interrupts them like raw dog, and I'd be like, whoa, okay, this one's.
It could have been.
This one's got some balls.
It almost didn't.
Isn't that what happens at the beginning when he's a puppy and he just goes, "What's happening here?"
It was so close to being that.
But yeah, no, I'm being flippant, but like it's that thing of like sort of being easily digestible and just like kind of like a vehicle for a family to sit around and just sort of like, you know, spend an hour and a half together, and then when it's finished, they can all just go, "Oh, wasn't that lovely?" And everyone goes, "Yes, it was lovely." And I think that's the thing, because you've got this really sort of interesting real life story where the dog is so loyal to his owner that he goes and waits for him every day for 9 years or whatever, and that's all really nice. But that hour before that happens, it's just kind of like it's basically just wish fulfillment, because it's like this guy has such a nice life. He's got a lovely family. He's got a lovely home, a lovely job. Everything's going great for this guy until he dies.
He's friends with everybody in his town. There's not anyone who's not familiar with him. He's just buddies with everybody. There's no dickheads in this neighborhood.
it's less kind of like, oh, isn't this guy sort of like a great character, or isn't this guy endearing or whatever? And it's more like, wouldn't you love to be this guy? And it's like, yeah, you probably would love that life.
Wouldn't you love to have this job living in this street where there's no dickheads ever? Friends with your hot dog vendor, your train station conductor.
Yeah, but it's the
suburbs
of like
everybody.
Rhode Island. Rhode Island is not exactly a very like exciting place.
Wouldn't you love to just? Don't know.
I mean, yeah, that's what makes it a family film, I guess. Oh, actually, that reminds me. So, who watched it with their family, or did they just?
I watched it with my mum the second time.
I watched it with my mum and dad.
I didn't.
I don't know
if it's also. I don't know if it's worth mentioning this as well. I've never owned a dog. I don't know if this was valuable information.
Did the rest of your family members cry? Is what I wanted to ask.
Surprisingly, no. But they did love the emotional impact of it. If that makes sense.
Okay. Of which there was none.
It was it wasn't like compared to E.T. or something like, which was like an emotional wreck for my mom.
Fuck E.T.
But it was still a nice sentimental film. Like how Rob said it. It was a good film. It was really it hit me in the feels. Yeah, it hit that. But it didn't like. It wasn't like, oh God, I want to kill myself.
No, yeah, Rob. Like you said, Rob's mum didn't take it very well.
Oh, did you?
Rob's mum didn't take it very well, or I don't know how you clarify it. Really, she cried, is what you said.
Yeah, well, she so it was quite sweet, really, because the bit happened where Richard Gere's wife comes over and she's like, "Oh, you're so old," and whatever, and I could hear my mum sort of going like, and I was like, "Nah, it's getting her." And then the bit where Hachi dies, she just that was the bit. And I just looked over at Frank, and Frank was sat there like, and that kind of deflated it a bit. But yeah, no, she, it really got her. Her scores were 9.5. If you want that on record.
Okay, cool.
Jesus, if it was called Frank, a Dog's Tale. And it was Frank, and it's just like, man, Frank's already on the back foot. He can't breathe out his face. Like,
but the point is that you would need Rob to die before it becomes the Frank the Dog's Tale.
Oh my God, I'd cry all day.
Yeah. To be fair, Frank's dog tale would just be about him hunting for sausages.
Frank,
that's the only thing he's loyal to.
This is my thing. It's like Frank. I get the impression struggles to survive on a daily basis. So, like, adding, I'm really loyal to Rob. Oh no, he's just died. And then he's got to deal with that. And he's like, I'm going to wait here and just struggle to survive in front of this train station. I'll be like, mate, Frank, man. What a guy. What a guy. What a guy.
Really, really fucking sad story. I could barely survive. Oh, damn. You're saying that's heartbreaking.
He's just sitting there going,
Frank does this really great thing, right? Where if you give him a sausage, he sort of bites onto the end of it and then he walks around with it in his mouth for a bit. And he looks like a little Winston Churchill. and that would be a great scene. But yeah, other than that, I'm not sure what Frank would do.
even just like, even when you just said about like your Uncle Brian, I love that this is just going to turn into like, let's make the Frank movie. But like when you said your Uncle Brian's dog came over and it pissed in the doorway, and so Frank went, "Who the fuck are you?" And also just pissed in the doorway. I'd love to have seen that with Hachi, where he's like, "Do you know who the fuck I am? I'm fucking Hachi, mate. I'm an Akita.
A much better scene than the skunk.
I'm an Akita. I will demolish you. Fuck off." Like, I don't. That, and everyone was just like, "Oh, for fuck's sake." Maybe he's not the best pet ever, but we love him very much. But fucking.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's sort of like watching like it's like if you watched a romance, right? But it's like this guy, and he just happens upon like this perfect girl, and she's got a great job, and she's just rich, but she like doesn't expect him to pay for anything. She just handles it, and like they just get on.
Don't say too much, man, because Richard Curtis is going to make this if you continue.
Give him time.
That's the story for like a whole hour. They just get on. It's brilliant. It's like, oh great, this is crap. I want to see someone have a fucking argument. I want someone to chuck a vase. I like, come on, let's go. Who's burnt dinner?
I mean,
this is what I mean. But this is what I mean by grit. Like, not a lot. Just a little where you go.
I mean, isn't that the problem with most romance movies anyway? It's like,
no,
because I mean, it is slightly because they need to have certain like problems in their relationship, so you can see them develop the story about them solving the problems in their relationship.
There's a little bit in Everything Everywhere All at Once, where a character says, I would love living above a failing laundromat, doing bills with you for the rest of my life. And it's not glamorous. And the fact that he would willingly choose a life of non-glamour above a life of like fame and glory is above all like the most romantic thing you could possibly ever say. But you have this instead, where he's like, I'd love to be an actor and have a life of luxury with you. And it's like, oh, that's fucking boring. Like, oh yeah, I'd love to have a life of luxury where our dog is great. And it's like that's all it is for an hour. And it's like, man, I just wanted a little bit of dimension here. Where you go, man, Hachi kind of sucks, but I love him.
It's not be like that. The dog's
Hachi kind of sucks, but he's very loyal. And he might kind of suck, and he might shit inside the sofa, and he might be sick and eat it, but he will still wait for me at a train station. That's what I want. That's that's the dog story I'm after. Not this. He won't fetch.
I did. I was going to say I did feel some endearment towards that though. I think that was partly though because, well, maybe it was on purpose actually. I don't know because the son-in-law was so annoying that I was like, man, this guy is a real villain. I really want to see him get his comeuppance. But then Hachi just sits there going, and I was like, yes, Hachi, you tell him you won't fetch.
Well, I mean, when you say comeuppance, I was just thinking about when he is like in his house and he was just waiting for him to bring in groceries. It's like, the fuck, I'm gonna fucking leave, but I'm gonna kick you before I leave, and you're gonna drop all your groceries on the floor. That's what I'm gonna do. That's all I thought you meant by comeuppance. But like, okay, sure. I guess because
even when he fell over.
Oh, I hated when he fell over.
Me too.
I wanted him to stay down.
Hachi won't wait for you at the train station, mate. You just died.
Can we agree that the worst part of this film is at least the son-in-law?
Yeah. You know the bit at the train station where they go and collect Hachi and the hot dog vendor's like, oh no, they shouldn't be doing that. I was like, yeah, don't let him have Hachi. This guy is the worst part of this film and he shouldn't have Hachi.
I want hot dogs now. I love some hot dogs. But yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I'm maybe talking you guys around on this.
No, it has problems, but I stand by the 10 for purpose and the 10 for impact.
Yes. Well, I think that, but yeah. It's lasted this long so that I guess so many people know. Anyway.
Yeah, because like they've had to remake that actual physical statue twice now.
Really?
Yeah, first time it's because it got destroyed during World War II, and like then afterwards, they let's say remastered it. They essentially they found pictures of the professor, and they were like, let's recreate it so it's Hachi and Professor together again. And I was like, that's yeah, celebrating. I'm like, what? Yeah, there's celebrations all around. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I was like, that's really sweet. Essentially, as like an image, they've reunited like best friends together again. I was like, that's cool. That's very sweet. That's very cool. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, cool. Huh. So I was like, oh, I didn't know that they remastered it to be together. I was like, but hearing that news when doing some more research about the film, I was like, that's cool. That's nice. That's nice. Gotta go back to Japan and just like take pictures more again.
Oh wait, because they did that since we've been there.
I can't remember when they redid it, but I remember there is a statue of the professor with Hachiko.
Oh, cool.
So I got go check it because it's so. I mean, like the movie is definitely impactful because there's literally this is for those who haven't been to Japan. There is literally a Hachiko train line. It's called the Hachiko line.
Does it not go anywhere? Is that the joke?
It goes to Shibuya Station, which has the Hachiko exit. And it's like, I was like, okay, cool.
I was really hoping you'd go, it just waits there until everybody dies.
Oh, that's sad.
I'm just looking at the statue of Hachi and the professor. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
Let me look at this because I only know, obviously, I only seen or know the one with just the dog.
Yeah. Yes.
I need someone to pick The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou because that's my ideal dog bit, and I won't spoil it.
It's coming.
I just choosing like sad pet movies now. We're gonna do.
No, it's not a sad pet movie.
Well, it kind of is. I mean, it's not a pet. But...
It's a comedy. It's a comedy.
Huh?
It's a comedy.
Yeah, but it's kind of sad.
It's a Wes Anderson comedy. Thank you. It's very funny.
It is quite sad.
Well, you're quite sad.
I'm just saying, if you had an encounter with a shark, I would do the same.
What, leave me on a desert island?
I'd get a submarine and a documentary film crew.
Oh, I messed it up. I see.
I must be missing something. I don't know. What?
We'll wait until Rob picks it, and then it'll all.
Yeah,
when Rob picks it, watch this back, and you go,
Okay.
Ben will be Willem Dafoe.
Oh, of course.
Then should.
So, think about Willem Dafoe myself.
I was gonna say, are we gonna choose? If I choose another like sad pet movie, it's gonna be like I'm gonna actually pick Old Yeller or some shit like that.
Old Yeller Belly. Oh, the director of Hachi was called Lassie, so you could pick Lassie.
Old Yeller too old, too yellow.
I mean, as long as it's not like a zombie movie, we had to put him down again. Sorry. Man. Anyways,
do you know what would have been really evil?
Old Yeller 2 Revelation. What?
You know what would have been really evil is if you did a double bill of this and Cujo. I would never look at Frank the same way.
I've never seen Cujo. I don't know why I laughed. But it might have been something to do with the fact that I would Old Yeller Reloaded. Sorry.
No, every time I think it's mainly because you called it gritty at the first. Like, how is this cool?
I didn't want to. I made an effort to not say gritty. I don't want Zack Snyder's Hachiko in slow motion as he waits for his own to come back. I'm not asking for that. I don't need Hachiko Sin City. I just wanted a little bit of conflict.
I mean, I guess the question becomes like, which Hallmark film does have conflict.
None of them. That's what makes them Hallmark films.
Does have conflict, you say?
Yeah, like I mean, like they have like small like arguments and disagreements, but it's not really conflict, though. Really.
Well, so I've just googled Hallmark films, and these are the kind of films that we're dealing with, right? This is a few select titles: A Country Wedding, Love Comes Softly, The Christmas House, A Very Merry Mix-Up, A Christmas to Remember, The Christmas Ornament, The Miracle. So you can imagine there's probably not a great deal of conflict in any of these.
I saw one called A Convenient Husband.
Sounds like a porno.
Well, they just sound like I don't want to work for anything. This is mainly enjoyed by people who don't like a little bit of challenge in their lives. They just want to sit there and be gifted things.
This is the best title if you're not looking for any conflict of any kind. Christmas in Harmony.
I can't wait. I'll be on the edge of my seat.
Love Strikes Twice. There might be some conflict in that one.
Like
A Bride for Christmas. That sounds.
Well, no, it's like when we do bad. Well, sorry, when I do bad films, I just couldn't. I just can't think of like bad films like they're like shitty. But when we talk, like when you guys talk about Hallmark films, I realize, oh, they're just so too nice. And it's too sweet. I guess that's also a bad film. I guess you can't.
Oh, hey, buddy, are you lost? Oh no, you're my mail order bride.
Yeah.
Oh no, your cage is broken.
What the fuck?
Oh God.
Oh man, these
like.
Oh god, this one looks hilarious. It's called Time for Me to Come Home for Christmas.
It sounds like the even worse version of Daddy's Home, and that was shit anyways.
I said Rob would have a more technical definition, and while he hasn't provided one, I think we get in the picture.
Yeah.
So yes,
Yeah,
well
okay.
done. You picked a Hallmark. You picked a Hallmark film. We don't like conflict here. We're here for wish fulfillment, which I think is a nice segue for John Wick. But I realise we've not been going on about this too long, so don't worry about it.
John Wick.
This has been this is the real theme of your double bill. It's wish fulfillment.
Wish fulfillment.
Yeah, you want to have the job where you're the professor who teaches dance and music to teenagers, and you want to be the guy who has the kind of aging wife and stuff, but you're aging too because you look like a waterfall. But like your daughter meets a nice guy and he's just a nice guy, and that's fine, and there's no conflict to get out of that either, and they just get pregnant and it's fine, and then you made up with a dog and the dog's really great and you love the dog, and then you die, and then the dog loves you so much that it waited for 10 years until it died. And then you move to John Wick, where you go, I had a dog, someone killed it, and now I'm gonna fuck everybody up on planet Earth, and no one can stop me because I'm so cool. It's the wish fulfillment double bill.
I mean, like that's kind of like that's a little bit of why I chose it as a double bill, mainly because like the first one is I died, my dog loves me and it's willing to wait for me. Second one is my dog dies, everything else needs to die as well.
And now I'm going to make it everybody else's problem. Let's not get into it. We're sticking with Hachi right now.
Okay, we'll get into it in a minute.
I will. I'm going to get into it. Don't worry, but not now.
So, I guess, like, well, I mean, favorite scenes is like it's like his favorite scene. Okay, the actual main scene that everyone really cares about is still definitely where she goes back and he's still at the station, and you see the Hachi there, and like she goes up to him and like goes and hugs him and stuff. Immediately, we've discussed maybe change the dialogue a bit, but still, that scene is definitely like the best scene, I guess. Is there like any other like scenes that really stick out? I guess because like it's mainly that scene, right?
My favorite scene is when Hachi dies, and he has like his life flash before his eyes. No,
Okay.
not in a joyful fashion.
You
But
made it
just-
sound really bad. You
Just-
could have phrased that way better.
I loved it when he died. Oh,
No, just like I don't know, that was the moment where like you know that video of that it went viral when we were in school, I think, but it's like a family that are on some reality TV show, and the guy goes, "Somewhere in my heart, I still love you." That's how I started crying at that scene.
It's that
What are you talking about?
You don't
I don't remember that
Oh,
at all.
let me find it. Let me find it.
Somewhere in my heart. What was the advert for?
No, it wasn't an advert. It was like a reality TV show.
Oh,
What?
what was it like? Big Brother or something?
Yeah, here we go. And let me just open it, and I'll share my screen for you. Oops. Check where to see. Right, so this is the video. Can you see that?
yeah. Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you're doing, and I haven't even seen it yet.
Somewhere deep down in my heart, I still love you.
And this is how I cried.
Oh, I remember this.
Sorry, I know that as a meme. I don't know that as an actual TV show.
Iconic.
As soon as I saw the fucking opening still, I was like, oh, it's this. I've never seen that clip before in my life. Other than the bit we've all seen before.
Yeah, I've only seen that in meme. I don't know. I've never actually seen the show before.
Same.
Speak meme.
No, do you speak meme? I speak meme. Fluent.
You know, guy crying. That one. That guy crying like Hachi's soul.
No, genuinely, as soon as the flashback happened, I was sat there like. So on that basis, that's my favourite scene.
You guys are all fucking easy as fuck.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm about to fucking die of a heart attack.
I'm glad you mentioned that your favourite scene was the dog dying, because my favourite scene was the aneurysm. No. God, I don't know what my favourite scene is. I didn't enjoy a fucking moment of this. No, it's the bare minimum. It's the one that Simon said already. Let's go move to someone else.
Ben Emmanuel?
Ben Manuel. I see.
I suppose I think one of my favorite scenes is when Hashi's out on his own when he's
that was fantastic. Emmanuel's mic cancels out when people speak, and he waited until the moment where he'd actually unmuted, leaned forward to speak, spoke, and then went, anyway. I couldn't have orchestrated that better. Well done.
It's good.
It's
good. Okay.
Do you want to do your favorites?
Yeah, the scene. There's a few times where this happens where Hachi's like after the death of Richard Gere, he's living alone under the train station, and he's just literally just has this routine built into him. Like he sleeps underneath the train, and he goes back to the station just to wait out on the deck during the day. And I thought that was a good like montage sequence where you can see him progress and see his routine. And I thought that was really quite sweet and touching to see how in his mind what his involvement and purpose is just to wait for his owner and his master to return. And that's what he does. He just sleeps under the train, goes back to the station, he gets fed by the hot dog man, and he still gets all this affection by the people that come towards him and feed him and admire him. And that was just, I thought that was still like quite sweet that he'd still have this admiration for being a consistent presence at the station throughout the rest of his life.
Yeah. How about you, Emmanuel? Did you have a favorite scene?
No, he didn't.
Okay. No, Camilla was on the phone. There was quite a few scenes that I really liked. One of them being, I think part of what Ben was saying, but it was just like one particular scene I really liked the lighting where the dog's walking down the tracks in the dark and the way everything's lit and the dog's like obviously by itself alone in the dark and just going back to its place where it sleeps and whatnot. I thought that was really good. The part where him and the Japanese professor, hey Pat,
Pat, the Japanese professor.
kind of obviously he's trying to like find out more things about the dog, and it's kind of like, oh, I guess he has a name now, and just the importance of a name. But I think my favorite one, I have a top favorite one, but next one, I just like there's a few moments with the hot dog man feeding hot dogs to a dog. Obviously, he makes the joke early, but then he actually starts feeding hot dogs at different points in time. Just like, be careful, some of those hot dogs are older than you. It's just little moments where I like the kind of moments between the hot dog guy and the dog. And I think one of my favorites is when the kid finishes his story, basically. And there were some good kid actors. They had tears in their eyes. I don't know what they told those kids to think about. Those kids were sad. In the background, who just like he looked like he was about to start bawling. And the girl who was unfocused, she actually had tears welling up. I was just like, man, these kids, they good. But it's just nice. It's just a nice contrast to like, oh, the kids started out making fun of him. And now they're just like, you know what?
Oh,
good story.
God damn it. I just thought of like a sort of contrivance actually. Is when that girl goes, yeah, my hero is Columbus. And I'm just thinking, well, Columbus is not a good guy at all. I'm like, I see your hero. That's a fucking contrivance right there.
It's not a real contrivance because at the time, and especially in America, it wasn't really pushed how bad of a guy he was.
I fully believe an American child, no offense, Emmanuel. I fully believe an American child to say Chris Columbus is her, not the Harry Potter director. Yeah. Christopher Columbus.
Yeah. He directed far better things than Harry Potter.
Yeah, but that's the only way I know him.
That's a shame.
You know Christopher Columbus because of Harry Potter?
Basically. Well, also for discovering America. Sorry, yeah, let me try.
Oh man.
Yeah, I said, yeah, not a good person to be your hero is what I was just trying to say. It's like,
I remember thinking that at the beginning. I was just like, ooh, this kind of hates this. I don't think that would be in a film now.
Yes.
Excuse me.
No.
But yeah, saying that, on a random side note, like, yeah, I didn't find out about all the crap he did till later in life, but I still didn't think anything good of him. Like, because they tell you some stuff when you're growing up and teach you stuff, and I'm just like, he didn't discover crap. It actually existed. And then everyone thought, oh, let's come and take over. Like, F off.
Sorry, Rob, what am I supposed to be knowing Christopher Columbus? Chris Columbus. What am I supposed to be knowing Chris Columbus for?
He did Rent, which is much better than Harry Potter. Didn't he also do Home Alone?
He did Home Alone, yeah.
Did he? He did Home Alone 2.
Did he do?
And Home Alone.
No, he didn't do the Goonies. He did.
He wrote he was a writer for the Goonies and Gremlins.
That's what he did. Let me see.
Oh, Gremlins is the.
Yeah, he wrote Gremlins.
I don't know this person you speak of.
He did Harry Potter and Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for you. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Okay.
He did Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief.
Oof.
He also did Pixels.
Oh.
Cool.
Yeah, that was not a good thing.
I don't mind those films. Pixels was fun. Percy Jackson, I saw half of it. I like how
That's fine.
Like that's the best way you go and say, yeah, I saw half of it. Yeah. I fell asleep during the middle part, but then after I woke up for the big climax in England. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
I think what I liked is that he thought he had dyslexia, but it was just that his brain was coded to read Greek, not English. I thought that was kind of cool. I was like,
I mean,
would that just be Greek with extra steps?
Yeah, but it makes no sense anyway, Emmanuel, because like if it converts to English and he can't read the English anyway, it doesn't make sense.
I just
was just like, okay.
Yeah. He should be remembered for directing Mrs. Doubtfire. Chris Columbus, director of Mrs. Doubtfire.
That's literally the only thing I can say. Sorry, when Rob said that's not the thing you should know Chris Columbus for, I just went through all of his filmography and was like, what am I supposed to know him for?
My comment was more against Harry Potter than for anything else.
I was like, oh, Pixels, Percy Jackson, The Lightning Thief, Harry Potter 1 and 2, Home Alone 1 and 2.
Okay, Home Alone is like not that bad.
I was
film,
like,
right?
it's
kind of funny for a Christmas film.
Home Alone 1's okay. Home Alone 2 is that's okay.
For projects when they're past you, this seems to be a pattern. Does he think, no, this is run its course, it's crap, I'm jumping shit?
I just went through that filmography going like, what does Rob like of these lot? I was like, oh, it's Rent. That's okay.
It's more I don't like than what I do.
Cool.
Basically, nobody other than J.K. Rowling should have the misfortune of being associated with Harry Potter, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Oh, I see we lost Pat already.
No, it's screen froze and it's just like trying to reset. But
sorry, Emmanuel was saying something.
Oh, sorry. What was it?
The only film from Harry Potter I really disliked, which was trash, which was Half-Blood Prince.
They're all kind of blurred into one for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
The end of the last film, but that was the director who particularly pisses me off because he does some stuff that just is annoying sometimes.
They're all kind of bad.
Who did the last film?
David Yates.
The David Yates who did Half-Blood Prince. So the same guy.
Yeah. It's on the same level with like David Fincher when he did his what you call it,
Dragon Tattoo.
Dragon Tattoo.
Oh,
And
yeah, remember that.
he wanted it to feel like he wanted it to drag out. It's just like, why do you want it to feel like this? And the same with the Zodiac. Yes, we get it. You don't have to make us feel frustrated. And like, can you not loan this out? Like, I know you want us to feel this, but we don't need to feel this. This is more frustrating. Anyway, sorry.
Well, I like that one.
You really lagged out there for a second for me. I was like, it's like you're like frustrating. And I was just like, okay, go ahead, okay. Oh, anger. I feel like, I don't know. Yeah, as I will agree with Rob because a lot of the movies do kind of like in this film or the other film, I can't remember. It's like the only one that really stands out to me was like I can't even remember the names of the goddamn fucking films now. It's like the fourth film, I think. Goblet of Fire.
Oh yeah.
Goblet of Fire was like the better one because it had extra characters that did different things from Hogwarts, and it was different sort of magic. Woo! And it was like conflicts and like action and all that stuff, and it was like just story developed better because there were better characters. You know what I mean? That's the best way I can describe it, right? But like everything else is like Harry Potter does something. Harry Potter finds something. Oh, it's a scary thing. You shouldn't do that, Harry Potter. But he does it anyway because he's Harry Potter. And it goes, and the story goes on. And it's like, okay, so it mixes it up again. Which is sad because like, especially in school, well, I'm not sure about you guys. At least I read those books going through secondary school. I was like, oh, it's an interesting story, an interesting world. I guess that's not too bad. Now it's thinking about that like fandom and her, and it's just like I just can't go back into it. It's just like no one really cares about it anymore. And is Pat coming back? Because I was waiting for him to see if he's going to come back and just like give his thoughts on Hachiko before I give mine.
He's going to do his Pottermore quiz. He's going to get Hufflepuff again. So he's going to
wait, is that serious?
He's going to make a new Hotmail account. And he's going to try it again until he gets Gryffindor. No, sorry. I don't know what he's doing. I just made that up.
Okay, but I guess my favorite scene for Hachiko was definitely when the professor was talking to him in Japanese, and essentially it breaks down to this. Essentially, like I think it's essentially the dialogue between them. I say it's him speaking to the dog, and he's saying essentially, "Dog, I know you understand me, and I understand that you understand me, but I know that you know he's gone, right? And you need to, and you're waiting here. You don't need to wait here, but if you want to wait here, it's up to you to wait here. I respect that decision for you to wait here," which is what it quickly just translates to. But it's like, it's nice because it gives him like, it gives it, how to explain, it gives it its roots to the original Japanese story. And I thought that was kind of sweet to do when they didn't have to do it, but it was nice that it gave it its it showed where the roots of the story came from, and I was like, that's nice. I thought that gave it that hallmark feeling. And I was like, yeah, that's nice. But then I realized, especially if you guys like calling it a Hallmark film, are like, all right, maybe having too much Hallmark is bad.
I'd have appreciated it if like Hachi reached out with like his mind powers in that moment, and then he was just like, "Mind your business, old man." But like in Japanese, like, that'd have been really cool.
Or if just went, but or if he once he's finished speaking to him, he just went bark, woof. And it's just like, yes.
Yeah,
sure.
but like he didn't actually like bark. He just said bark, woof. Go away, please.
All right.
Oh,
Simon,
jeez.
did you say you've never seen the Japanese one?
I've seen clips of it because I've never seen it fully because, like, again, it's hard to get without like buying the fucking DVD or so. But I remember I've always seen bits of it because it's a very old film, right? And it's like the setting is also very old. Because like the wife has that very traditional Japanese like bun hair thing with the big bun of hair in the middle, and I was like, that's so old fashioned. This film, I was like, I watched a little bit of it, and I was like, oh, there's a scene where he takes a bath with Hachi, and I was like, oh, that's probably where that Smarto soup skunk scene came from. I was like, okay, cool, and I didn't think about it until right now, and I was like, oh yeah, I just remember that. It's like, yeah, there's like it's like a lot of little bits of it I've seen of the original. Can't completely remember it, but it's like little tidbits here and there. I just haven't watched it fully because I think again probably watched it with bad English subtitles. I just couldn't get it again. So maybe if I actually just buy like the DVD or Blu-ray from like Amazon, I probably could be able to watch it. But until then, we'll see.
I think I probably will, to be honest, because I would like to see the original one, just on the basis that I think Japanese films are usually much better at being melodramatic than American films are.
I guess, yeah, I'd rather see the Japanese version of this because, like, even just like the little bit where he's going on about Hachi not fetching, and the Japanese guy goes, well, he's Japanese, he's not American, he can't be bought. I was like, oh, what a film to have that say that. You are immune to irony.
I know you think that's the main point you were saying is like, I think the point he was trying to say was like, you want him to fetch, but that's not the point of this dog. It's a guard dog. You can't really make a German Shepherd fetch. I mean, I guess you could, but it's like that's not his purpose. This is a fucking like Akitas are like bear hunting dogs. That's what they were bred for. They were bred to attack people and bears. That's what they're for.
If he said that, that'd be fine. Yeah. But what he says is he's not American. He can't be bought.
Was that the actual line?
Yeah, that's what he says. Okay. I would have much preferred it if he was going, no, this isn't the point of this dog. The point of the dog is to like do other shit, not that.
I was like, don't go doing this crap where you are peddling the story of a Japanese dog to an American audience and not putting in any conflict or anything whatsoever. Like this, don't go doing this. You're not the film. Just be aware of what you are and fuck off.
Yeah, I guess, sure. All right. So, any final thoughts?
Fuck this one.
No.
Yes.
No.
Did Eb watch this?
No, I didn't put Eb through this. She watched John Wick with me instead.
She kept. You let Eb watch this and have her thoughts, please.
I explained it to her.
No. Explaining it is not the same as watching it. You know this.
Well, I will let her know that you would like her to watch this.
I would. I am generally. Because you said Eb has a pet dog, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm generally interested if people who own like pet dogs or pets in general would find this film a lot more emotionally striking, I guess is the right phrase to say it, or more can connect with it more emotionally if they've had pets. I would like to know if that's also one of the factors for this film to be where it is, especially if it's a Hallmark film, right?
Have you ever had a dog, Simon?
Yeah, I've had. Well, I mean, I've had like a few pets. Like I haven't. it's not really not my dog. I've had like I've taken care of my like cousin's dog a decent amount of times, and like they've got like they've had the big dogs. I've had to take care of like little dogs as well. I've had to take care of like a lot of people's dogs because big dogs have a lot of energy, right? And they can fucking sprint. So because I'm a larger framed person, if I go walk with them, right, they can't exactly like drag me off.
I'm sorry, I think you mean a person of large.
A person of large, yeah, sure. But like because like they have a dog which is like fucking it's like husky breed. I can't remember the name of what type of husky breed it is, but it looks like a fucking bear. And like even I have to like hold it on like a short leash because he fights with me because he knows that I can probably take it, and it's like, no, fucking walk this way. I don't need you to walk that way. Walk this way. Just stop fighting with me. Just hold. I have to like fucking go because it's a big dog. So,
the big dog.
So, it's fucking huge. The size of this dog. This dog could, if it it could probably eat John. Is what I'm saying. This dog.
Anything could eat John. He lacks willpower.
I mean, like that's just a size. It's like he could probably, because John's got his greyhounds, which are quite like greyhounds aren't big. Well, they're big dogs, but they're skinny. This dog is like fluffy and massive. Like I wonder if I could show you guys pictures. I'll post a picture of it in the chat later. But like yeah, they're big dogs.
I just like the idea of something like, oh, I could eat John. And I'm just like, a whelk could eat John. Like,
I would rather you didn't eat me, but you seem to have made your mind up to.
You know, it's like your opinion. Like whatever. I'm not doing anything.
That's also the other thing. It's like, so final thoughts on this movie.
Oh, I said, by the way, sorry, I just messaged Eb actually. I said, Simon wants you to watch Hachi, A Dog's Tale, and she said, nah, I'm good.
Okay.
So, Toz.
Okay.
Big
okay, let's see.
Oh, wait, she might be coming back to me.
I've just remembered I've got to tell you something, Emmanuel, but I'll do it in between recordings.
You're getting married again. Ooh.
I'm afraid I've proposed to Camilla.
So fucking rude.
Wait, should we end so we can do John Wick?
All right. Okay.
Oh God, I don't know because
let's get ready for this.
Either stay on this shitty film.
All I'd say is that I still feel the same.
It's good.
I like this film.
Yeah, this film is Hallmark, but it's the Hallmark that's based on a real story, so there's no real contrivances. But it's still a movie that, so it could have like snipped or made it a little bit more interesting, but it ruins that. And it's still a generally good film, and you guys have scored it slightly higher than John Wick, which I guess is fine. That's fine. That's good. That's fine.
If I expected my viewpoints to change anyone's opinion, I'd have left this film club long ago.
Okay.
I really like it, despite like the problems that I mentioned that I had with it. I still think it did exactly what it wanted to do. And yeah, I stand by the 10 for purpose and impact, but I also stand by the 7 for story.
In the field of existing, it definitely achieved a 10. In the thing of being about a dog who had a very sad life story, it achieved a 10. Yes, it did do those things. I will agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fucking crap! I hate it. Oh, I saw your eyes just dart down there, and I was like, he's gonna close it on